Hello everyone, welcome back to our emergency medicine channel. Today I have come with the topic early repolarization syndrome, which is relatively common in general population. In patient presenting to an emergency room, it can be particularly challenging to distinguish early repolarization with life-threatening subtle ST elevation MI. So let's see what is early repolarization syndrome and how do we differentiate it from other conditions and what is its management. So coming to what is early repolarization in general, it is a genetic disorder of cardiomyocyte ion channel function seen by ECG changes with elevation at the junction between the end of the QRS and the beginning of ST elevation in two contiguous leads. So, coming to the diagnostic criteria, this definition is given by Heart Rhythm Society and European Heart Rhythm Association, which defines early repolarization syndrome as presence of J point elevation more than 1 mm in more than two contiguous inferior and or lateral leads of a standard 12 lead ECG in a patient resuscitated from otherwise unexplained ventricular fibrillation or polymorphic VT. The second criteria is that in case of sudden cardiac death victim with a negative autopsy and a medical chart review with a previous ECG demonstrating J point elevation more than 1 mm in more than two contiguous inferior and or lateral leads of a standard 12 lead ECG. The third criteria they give is presence of J point elevation more than 1 mm in more than two contiguous inferior or lateral leads of. Next, coming to the definition based on the ECG, it is characterized by J point elevation, which is manifested as either QRS slurring at the transition of QRS segment and the ST elevation or notching. So, this is the changes which we see. In which patient has a QRS slurring. This is since the J wave or the J point elevation may be hidden in the terminal portion of the QRS complex, which results in the slurring of the terminal QRS complex. So, if the patient has this kind of change into contiguous lead ECG, early repolarization syndrome can be considered. And the other ECG changes are if the patient has an ST elevation with an upper concavity and prominent T wave as seen in this ECG. In at least two contiguous leads or a J point notching which is more than 0.1 millivolts. So this is the definition based on the ECG. Next, coming to the pathophysiology. Pathophysiology, it is basically due to current imbalance between the epicardial and the endocardial layer, resulting in the dispersion of the depolarization and the repolarization. The normal epicardium, so this is a normal action potential. The normal epicardial layer action potential differs from the endocardium in having a prominent, this has a prominent phase 1 notch. The difference is due to a larger transient outward potassium current in the epicardium, which results in a greater net repolarizing current flow through the phase 1. But in case of this is a action potential of early repolarization syndrome, wherein there is enhancement of the epicardial net outward current resulting in an enhancement of the endocardial to the epicardium action potential difference, which is seen here. So this in an ECG is seen as a J wave as seen in this ECG. Early repolarization syndrome results from mutation that produce a gain of function of the outward potassium current channel, or it may be due to loss of inward sodium or calcium current channels. So in this case, the patient may predispose to polymorphic ventricular tachycardia, which can generate into ventricular fibrillation. Prior to ventricular tachycardia or ventricular fibrillation, early repolarization pattern may become more exaggerated, which will be seen on the ECG. In the ventricular arrhythmias may cause palpitation or cardiac arrest. Syncope may occur. Syncope may occur, but it is uncommon because ventricular tachycardia that occur with early repolarization syndrome rarely self-terminates. Next, with early repolarization syndrome is commonly seen in athletes and in young male. It can also be seen in cocaine users, hypertrophic obstructive cardiomyopathy, and can also be seen in hypertrophy or defect of intraventricular septum. Early repolarization syndrome are of three types. The type 1 it shows early repolarization in the lateral precordial leads that is seen in healthy male athletes and has low risk of malignant arrhythmia. The type 2, it shows early repolarization in the inferior and the inferolateral leads and is associated with a little greater risk of malignant arrhythmia. And the type 3, it shows early repolarization pattern in ECG in almost all the leads and has highest risk of malignant arrhythmia and electrical storms. So next, coming to the manifestation, it is basically divided into two subgroups. One is the benign early repolarization, in which the patient is asymptomatic. This group less likely they have adverse cardiac event. And the malignant early repolarization, this is the high risk group wherein patient may have syncope and patient will be a survivor of cardiac arrest. Next, coming to the differential diagnosis, we should be able to differentiate with other conditions, that is myocardial infarction, pericarditis, Brugada syndrome, short and long QT syndromes, and idiopathic ventricular fibrillation. In case of ST elevation MI, patient will have initially a J point elevation with concave ST segment elevation, but ST segment elevation typically becomes more pronounced and convex as the infarction persists. And patient in case of STEMI may have symptoms of chest pain and breathlessness. In case of pericarditis, patient may have ST segment diffusely in most of the limb leads and the precordial leads. In case of Brugada syndrome, which is the closest entity resembling early repolarization syndrome, it is a primary repolarization disorder characterized by a prominent J wave causing a pattern of incomplete right bundle branch block and ST segment elevation in the right precordial leads. So we should be able to differentiate from these conditions. Next, coming to the management, implantable cardioverter defibrillator is indicated when a patient has a diagnosis of early repolarization syndrome who has survived a cardiac arrest, and in case of symptomatic family member of early repolarization syndrome, patient with a history of syncope and presence of ST elevation more than 1 mm in more than 2 or more inferior or lateral leads. It is considered in asymptomatic individual who demonstrate a high risk ER pattern, that is high J wave amplitude and horizontal or descending ST segment, in the presence of strong family history of juvenile unexplained sudden death with or without pathogenic mutation. And isoproterenol infusion can be useful in suppressing electrical storms in patients with diagnosis of ER syndrome. And quinidine, in addition to the ICD, can be useful for secondary prevention of ventricular fibrillation in patients with a diagnosis of ER syndrome. Hopefully, this will be useful. Thank you.